Model's approach to unified endpoint management. This is the Updates and Servicing Level 5 Maturity Model video, and my name is Jason Rutherford. I'm the Managing Partner of Model Technology Solutions. So we'll go through just a brief round of introductions. We'll talk about unified endpoint management. We'll review the maturity model phases and categories, and then we'll cover what Updates and Servicing Level 5 looks like. So let's cover the UEM maturity model. We didn't necessarily create the phases. These are industry standard phases. The initial phase, repeatable, defined, managed, and efficient. And we took that model and we applied it across categories as it pertains to endpoint management. So the management infrastructure, things like Active Directory and Azure AD, configuration management, user permissions, baseline security, device provisioning, and deprovisioning, a couple examples there. This video is centered on updates and servicing management. We'll take a look at the monthly processes, operating system versions, testing, and validation. Now, this is a level 5 video. The level 1 through 4, if they are not out, they will be coming out. So stay tuned for updates there. Moving on to additional categories, application management. So all the processes around applications, and then endpoint security. So at the end of the maturity model, the idea is that we can assess your UEM endpoint maturity using categories on a scale. And so you can see where your biggest benefit would be to invest some area of time, energy, and or money based on our output. So in this example here, updates and servicing is a level 3, endpoint security is a level 5. Maybe your entire holistic endpoint security needs to be a level 5. So this maturity model roadmap can assess where you're at and give you tangible next steps to move your maturity model from a 3, in this case, to a 4. Level 5 defined. So a well-defined update processes. That can mean several things that we'll get into when we get to that slide. Automating those processes both in a basic and an advanced stage. And then we take a look at major operating system releases. Feature upgrades can get rapidly deployed with a minimal amount of user disruption, as an example. And then we have these analytics. So we've talked a lot about analytics through this video series. The analytics give you the ability to make strategic decisions based on what's going on in your environment. So by having a dashboard to be able to provide near real-time status of patch compliance and percentage certainly gives you an advantage from a multitude of angles. So processes. The first thing to note is that processes are different for every organization. Generally speaking, there's a certain amount of testing and validation that would occur, so there's some guidelines we can put in. But the processes should very much be business aligned. What I mean by that is if you know, for example, your certain departments will batch their processes during month end is not a good time to set the deadline for the applications to update. And so being business aware, and then again, having some empathy for what the end consumers of the devices are going through to optimally deploy their patches according to a schedule that is sufficient to your security needs. Generally speaking, those processes look like test, deploy in an optional state, deploy in a mandatory state, and remediate. And you're remediating until you get to your target percentage. Now, your target percentage over the years should be climbing up because devices should be standardized. They should be, in some cases, easy to identify the common problems with patching in your environment. But generally speaking, the processes, having them defined is a piece of the puzzle. And those processes can be expedited for 0-day patches, right? So nothing should come as a surprise when a 0-day patch needs to go out. More so that you're just doing your normal processes in a faster manner with a different time frame. So we talk about this idea of reducing user disruption while ensuring security. There is a fine balance of being secure and then enabling people to do their job. You can certainly hinder people's progress from being too secure if your security practices are so stringent that they cannot seem to move throughout their day fluidly without disruption. So, learning what users need to work and understanding that you might need to align with business units to identify a proper deployment schedule is certainly important. Understanding your culture of your environment is another piece of the puzzle. And so we talk a lot about security. This is one piece of security. This is not necessarily the zero trust conversation. This is more routine maintenance that needs to be done. This is kind of an entry-level step of security, which is why the security node in the maturity model has its own section. But understanding that the deployment schedule is just a piece of the puzzle, but doing so aligned with the business as opposed to dictating what should happen from IT can lead to a lot of benefits when it comes to patch compliance. So let's talk about automation for a minute. So automation runs far and deep from the very basic automation to the most advanced troubleshooting of automations when it comes to troubleshooting the patch process. So an example of the basic automation would be on the monthly cadence, patches are released or provisioned regardless of your tool set in an automated fashion to your test group. Your test group is notified in some way that patches are there, depending on how you have your process defined. A non-response or a response might be required from the people. And in such a way, you could even say that a non-response by X date serves as an approval to move forward with patch deployment. It's different for every organization, right? As long as you have dedicated people that understand the timing, that understand that there might be something different about their PC at this point, you can take some of that basic automation and really expedite some of those processes. Now, some advanced automation would be some examples of what we've done here at Model. We have several thousand, tens of thousands of endpoints under management at Model under our managed services team. And so one of the things that we've done is taken all of our knowledge of software updates and created a troubleshooting script that if an update does not deploy correctly, it runs through a series of the most common reasons why updates fail to bring our customers' patch compliance that much more in an elevated state. So that's an example of advanced automation that can be used in the update process. Now, analytics, kind of the last point here. The analytics piece of it is critically important to understand that there are ebbs and flows inside of patch management. When Patch Tuesday comes out, as you can see in the patch compliance percentage down here in this dashboard that we created, Patch Tuesday comes out, your patch compliance drops, then the patch cycles go through their normal patch window, and they go back up to 100%. Comes the next Patch Tuesday, the machines identify the fact that they need additional patches, then they go back up to 100% after they patch. So what you can see is you can see that there's some ebbs and flows on the daily basis for patch management, which is fine. That's acceptable. It's what we want. It's what we're going to get. And then you have percentage compliance by month. So you want to trend your percentage compliant month over month as well to see how you're doing. Ideally, you're able to go to a dashboard, a single dashboard, and identify how many devices you have and what the total percentage of overall compliance of those devices are. In this case, 24 devices, 91% compliant in our test lab. This is a great example of a dashboard or a set of analytics that you should be able to go find at any point in time. Further, there should be additional drill downs to identify specific patch compliance. The final dashboard I'll kind of show is one of the dashboards that we've created for our managed services clients that has similar data. It's got a month-by-month view, and it's got filtering capabilities of it. And it's broken down into workstations and servers. So you can see as an example, 100% of the servers out of the 5 in our test lab, they're compliant, and we have one device that is not compliant out of 14 that are compliant, giving us an overall percentage for our workstations of 93%. So this is an example of how you can take similar data and really break it out into a view that you can help you consume and use it. So the next steps for our maturity model, if you're interested in having an assessment done, it's 2 90-minute sessions plus a pre-engagement questionnaire. So it flows like this. We will send a questionnaire. You'll fill out a bunch of questions that we have to kind of prep the conversation. And in there, you'll have the information required to go through the 2 90-minute sessions. The first 90-minute session, we will go through additional deeper questions to get an understanding of your environment. Everything from business operations, business alignment, challenges, roadblocks, user adoption of new technology, into very specifics in each one of the categories where you're at from a technical and a tactical standpoint. From that, we'll create a findings and a prioritized recommendations list that we'll deliver in the next 90-minute session. And that's an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you would like about how we operate or questions about the report. We give you just a ton of information on the report, and that'll help you get from where you are today down the maturity model or up the maturity model chain. The cost for the assessment and the report is $3,000, and we've had a lot of clients go through it that have found a tremendous amount of value. But if you're interested in going through the assessment, you can find more information at model-technology.com, or you can shoot me an email, jason.rutherford@model-technology.com.